Jack Caglio went 3 for 5, and Garcia was 2 for 5 for the Royals. From the Sports Desk, I'm Jacob Zimmerman.
Sports Report brought to you by Burwell Construction. Decks, pergolas, patio covers, roofing, siding, windows, guttering, and more. 316-794-3430 or online at burwellconstruction.com.
This is Wichita's sports station, K230BY, 93.9 FM, 1410 AM, and 99.7 HD3. KGSO, Belle Plaine, Wichita.
Here's what you need to know.
NFL media reports that free agent cornerback Terrion Arnold will be placed on the commissioner's exempt list when he signs with a team. Arnold is facing 8 felony charges in connection with a robbery and kidnapping in Tampa in February. He's presently expected to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. Los Angeles Chargers starting center Tyler Biadasz was carted off the field during today's joint practice with the 49ers with an apparent leg injury. Biadasz signed a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Chargers during the offseason. The Atlanta Falcons are signing edge rusher Zadarius Smith to a 1-year deal worth up to $8 million. Jets running back Breece Hall will be out 2 to 3 weeks with a groin injury, but will be ready for the regular season. And the New York Giants have just signed running back Najee Harris to a 1-year deal and have released receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
Come on.
Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is the Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Welcome into the show. What's going on? It is the Press Box on 1410 93.9 KGSO inside the Renewal by Anderson Studios. Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka. Give us a call on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410. Drop your comments on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. But we got the SC Wichita app, KGSO.com. Over the next 2 hours, we got you covered in the sports world. Breece Hall, man. Breece Hall is going to be injured with a growing out for a couple of weeks. They say he'll be ready for the season opener. Jets at Titans. Going to talk about Melvin Council. He is in the news as he is looking to get a hearing scheduled for September 4th to potentially continue playing college basketball. We'll tell you more about that here in a moment. Micaela Day from Cake Sports. Per usual, expecting a call from her in about 20 minutes. We'll talk some fantasy today once again. We'll move to the running backs. I actually know where I'm going to be positioned in an upcoming fantasy draft for myself. I might be able to get a Bijan Robinson or a Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about maybe some NBA, maybe Jordan Tyson's injury. I'm hearing fans are going to be able to vote for the Heisman. There's a lot of crazy headlines that are out there here on a Tuesday. Sasha, what's up, man?
Not much. Hey, don't fearmonger people like that. Fans are going to get one of 2,000 votes for the Heisman. I think it'll be okay, and I think they got it last year as well. But I'm excited with all this talk about Heisman voting and camps. We just know football's right around the corner. Should be a good day today,
dude. Counting down the days, man. I know. Preseason's wrapping up here in about 10 days. You got high school football here in the area starting on September 4th. Our high school football guides. You've been hearing the promos from that, I'm sure, quite frequently here on this station. That'll be out here in about a week or so. All right, let's go to the top. Breece Hall, Wichita North product. Look, doing good things in the NFL. formerly out of Iowa State as well. Look, he's on the New York Jets. It was speculated for some time. Is he going to end up on the Kansas City Chiefs one way or another? Well, the Chiefs may have checked the box over the offseason with Kenneth Walker, and it looks like Breece Hall going to be reeling in some serious dough over the next 3 seasons with his recent extension that he signed for $45 million. So, look, the growing injury, it's not, I would say it's not a knee. Right, it's not a hamstring, but it's something that you want to take serious. It's a lower body injury for an athlete who, well, is going to use his lower body a lot throughout the next 17 weeks. So what are your thoughts here on this injury? They're saying it's nothing major, but we know sometimes if you start this season injured, you can sort of overcompensate and things pile on.
It can be tough, like for a running back or a receiver, if you start the season injured, to just kind of be in and out of that injury all season long, always trying to come back too fast. And the Jets' backup running back is pretty good. Braylon Allen is a pretty good player. So we'll look at fantasy running backs later today. But from that perspective, you wonder about his workload. From a Jets perspective, you just wonder. I know they had plans to use Breece Hall a lot, right? They just paid him. They want him to be their feature back, but I wonder how much of that workload gets split between him and the other running backs in the room. But hopefully he's full go by week 1 and ready to go for the season. I think like they sounded confident, right? They said he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks, but he will be ready for week 1. Their first game is 3 weeks and 5 days away. So that's a timetable that's a little closer than they're making it seem. Like there's no guarantees that he'll be playing week 1.
And I think for the Jets season, look, it's not necessarily a huge risk. I gotta think that their bar, their expectations are a little bit different. I think, from an individual standpoint, Breece Hall is hoping to rack up some serious fantasy numbers this year. But look, Geno Smith, he's going to be your starting quarterback. Maybe we see a little bit of Cade Klubnik this season. Likely not. The Jets have had their fair struggles, and look, Breece Hall was going to kind of lead you to greener pastures, right? Lead you to the light at the end of the tunnel, and that was going to be the hope to kickstart the year. Tennessee, a lot of teams feel like, hey, that's kind of a layup on the schedule for the Jets here. It's kind of an even 50-50 call. So, look, this kind of hurts the Jets' chances a little bit of winning week 1, and more importantly, I think for Breece's individual stats and his season and just his career, he's hoping to get back healthy and shake this off. So he's going to get a lot of work, probably a lot of massage therapy, a lot of stretching over the next couple of weeks. But best of luck for Breece Hall, the former Northwest Grizzly, to get back out there and hopefully have another 1,000-yard season under his belt.
Yeah, and the truth is he got the contract this offseason. So in terms of that, like, it's better to get injured after you get the contract than playing on a franchise tag or something like that. But, again, not a huge serious injury. Hopefully it doesn't affect his season at all.
Do you think sometimes, the media gets a little over worried with some of these injuries? Of course, you've got to put it out. I think every season, fan bases, media, everyone's telling you, man, we've never seen this many injuries before. But that seems to be the storyline every single season. Is this just what football fans need to finally adjust to? Is you are going to have multiple starters dinged up heading into a season?
There's always going to be guys dinged up. I think like when you haven't seen them play games yet, right? You hate seeing guys get hurt in practice, and the reality is during the season you don't see a lot of guys get hurt during practice, right? You see during the games if something happens, then they're out. But you every once in a while you'll hear about a guy tore his ACL in practice or something in a midweek, but they don't usually do enough in practice during the season to actually get injured. And so this is the time of year where it's like when it happens during a game, you're watching it happen, you know what's going on. When it happens during practice, you just kind of get the alert and you're like, oh, shoot, another guy's hurt, and you're disappointed. And I also think it highlights, right, like the fantasy-obsessed society we live in. When it's a skill position player, right, when it's a receiver, running back, quarterback, tight end, people care about it because they care about their fantasy teams and what production they're going to get. And then they're looking at who's their backup, who's the next guy, right? Who can be that fill-in. And when it's a big ugly, unless it's for your team, you don't really, it doesn't register, right? When it's an offensive or defensive lineman, unless it's a Myles Garrett, right? Or a big name like that, then you're not really worried about it. TJ Watt, he's had his fair share of injuries. But as far as that goes, unless it's your own team, you're not as as concerned about it. So, and people don't really notice it on Sundays, right? If it's somebody else's offensive line and they have 3 offensive linemen out and then they play like crap on Sundays, usually the average fan isn't like, well, they had a lot of injuries on the offensive line. That's probably why. But if their quarterback's out, the average fan's going to realize, oh, they played horrible because their quarterback was out. So
I think you're onto something like Breece Hall's injury. If you're on just about any sports website that covers nationally, he is the top story. And look, he is, of course, very relevant to our neck of the woods here in Wichita. But I got to think, most days in the sports cycle in the fall, we're kind of getting to that now. It's not the Jets running back being injured for a couple weeks that is usually the headline story. Today it happens to be. That's a credit to Breece Hall and what he's done in his career. It's credit to what he's expected to do this upcoming season. But I think you're onto something a little bit there. I love how you call them the big uglies, the offensive linemen. They don't really get the love. They only get called out when they're making mistakes. But I know you're wearing the Chiefs shirt. I got to think the Trey Smith injury is kind of on your mind a little bit. Fans aren't necessarily reacting strongly to that. They're not lifting the eyebrows. They're thinking, okay, everything's going to be back. We can trust a Trey Smith, but he doesn't have the moxie of a fantasy projected second or third round guy.
it is a big deal though, right? Like he's probably more important to the Chiefs than the number 3 receiver that people would care about if they got hurt, because you watch him play and you're not really watching the offensive line as much. But it does bug me a little bit. Trey Smith's got he's got a hip problem. Oof. And Josh Simmons has a back problem. And this early in the season, before games have even started, for those to be flaring up, you just hope those aren't continual problems throughout the season. Maybe they just did a little bit too much too fast early in camp. You give them a couple weeks rest and they'll be ready to go by week 1. But it does concern me a little bit that before the season even starts, these aren't like acute injuries where like they hurt their ankle or they hurt their knee and now they have to rest to make it get better. These are more like, at least to me, what it sounds like is more like wear and tear stuff that you would expect maybe later in the season.
I could see Trey Smith having some lingering injuries. When you play in a lot of postseason games, it's really tough to get that full offseason of recovery that a lot of other teams and O-linemen are able to do so. And then with Josh Simmons, on the other hand, that's probably the more pessimistic angle from my perspective because he's young, he's fresh. He kind of came into the league, a little banged up, recovering from injury when he could have maybe been drafted to a better team earlier in that first round. For him to kind of have another injury under his belt, you think about last season missing some time due to personal reasons. You want your starting left tackle to be as solid as they come.
Well, he missed time for personal reasons, then came back, and then had season-ending wrist surgery. So there was both things that at play last year, and you need him to stay healthy for a full season if you're going to accomplish your goals. He's their best option at left tackle. I think like they if Khalil Benson's a real thing, they've at least developed some depth where like if they have to, Jalen Moore kicks over to left, Khalil Benson plays right. But I'm a little leery of the fact that maybe their 6th best offensive lineman, or the guy that that's getting talked about the most after the 5 starters, is an undrafted rookie. That scares me a little bit. But if he's ahead of these other guys, then I guess maybe you just found a diamond in the rough.
Diamond in the rough, man. That's what we're all hoping to find here in the later rounds of our fantasy drafts in upcoming days. Let's shift off of NFL. I promise we'll get back to it. We'll talk more pigskin this hour. We'll maybe ask Micaela Day a few questions here pretty soon. The AP poll is out this week at last for college football. You got some things going on. But speaking of things going on, man, the never-ending cycle. The ball is rolling downhill. It's turned into a snowball, and it is, players trying to find a way to stay alive with their eligibility in college sports, and Melvin Council Jr. is the latest with the lawsuit. Look, man, it's in the name. He's taking them to council, but more like the Douglas County District Court right there in Lawrence. He's got a hearing set for 9 a.m. Friday, September 4th, so we've got an official date. And look, this is as controversial as it gets because for Melvin Council's situation, it's a little bit different than you're just traditional story we're talking about, hey, class of 2022 high school player, maybe a Karan Boyd, a Kenyon Giles looking to get that 5th year squeaked out. Look, no, I think it's even different for Melvin Council. And with him, this case could carry a lot of weight because his argument is, hey, I played 2 seasons of junior college basketball. That should not count to my NCAA at Division I eligibility. And so, look, I think maybe for the greater good, this is a situation where it's maybe best for Council to lose this case. But for Jayhawk fans wanting their junkyard dog back, man, I can't help the folks in Kansas, anywhere throughout the state, anywhere where Jayhawk fans are located for wanting Melvin Council Jr. potentially back on the Jayhawk squad.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why Kansas fans would want Melvin Council Jr. back, but I don't see where his case is, right? Like, he played 2 years of junior college. He's played 3 years in Division I, right? He played at Wagner. He played at St. Bonaventure. He played at Kansas last year. The 2 years at junior college, he's not a class of 2022 guy. He's already played 5 seasons of college basketball. The two years of junior college have always counted as towards your eligibility of how many years of college basketball you get to play. And so he's grasping at straws. He's pulling this out of thin air. And I don't think, and I know there's some more nuance to it than that. There's people that I've seen articles about how the reason he went to junior college is because of some false accusation that happened in high school or something like that, and he would have been in Division I from the beginning if it weren't for that. Listen, them are the breaks, right? Life is not always perfect. It doesn't always go the way you expect it to. He still got to play 3 years of Division I basketball. He got to play at the University of Kansas. I don't see any reason to grant him another year of eligibility.
And it's late in the cycle, man. Bill Self, he's working out with these guys. They're getting squared away in the program here. This is Tyron Stokes' big season, right? He's kind of the new Darren Peterson on the block. He's, the latest potential number 1 overall pick to go there to Lawrence to play for KU. 6'8", 230-pound freshman. Stokes should be incredible. I do think it would help to have like a veteran presence right alongside him. I don't know if Leroy Blyden Jr. necessarily counts at that. Cole Rosario is still very young in this squad, but KU, we haven't necessarily talked a ton about their offseason with men's basketball. We're going to get a little bit more aggressive with the football team here in the Big 12 here shortly, but yeah, I think overall for Council, whether he helps KU or hurts KU, this is a situation where he probably hurts the greater good of college basketball if he finds a way to win this case. But the fact that this is, right here in the backyard in Lawrence, maybe gives me some hope for Council's case, for his individual sake to win and continue to play there at Allen Field.
There's got to be something with these court cases that take them out of the place where somebody plays, right? They've got to find a way to not I'm not saying this judge will be biased, but it's the same thing that happened in the Brennan Sorsby case where everybody assumed, right, you got a judge in Lubbock, and he ruled in favor of the guy who's trying to play for Texas Tech. And so that's an automatic, like, well, okay, so some Lubbock judge granted an injunction or whatever the case may be. The same thing's going to happen if counsel wins this case or gets any kind of favorable ruling. People are going to be like, it's a judge in Lawrence. What did you expect? And they need to be able to eliminate even the appearance of impropriety in these situations.
I like that you reminded me with the Brennan Sorsby situation because that's going to be kind of the go-to, point your finger, make the comparison off-season after off-season. And now the betting scandal, that's another thing. But with these cases going on, it kind of felt like your Texas Tech quarterback sort of led the charge there. While you got me on Texas Tech, man, I got to say I'm a little surprised to see. I think it's kind of deserved, but it is strong favoritism for Texas Tech to like head and shoulders preseason projection-wise to win the Big 12. I know we're sort of blending stories here, but yeah, a lot's going down in college sports right now. Pandora's box, I think that's kind of the perfect way to describe it. It has been opened, and once you open a box like that, it's tough to close. I mean, I think the Dusty May story, that is still fresh on my mind from last week, and how he, was very candid and kind of came out and said, look, it wasn't just about my excitement for the NBA. It was my disdain for college basketball and kind of his hope to never return to coaching on the college level in the NCAA ever again because, he just felt like, hey, when he would show up to those Big Ten meetings hoping to get things figured out, it just never would. And if you have enough people feeling that way, it feels like it's been bending. It may eventually break. Who knows what that means? But maybe Micaela Day has an answer for us here on the other side. Maybe before we get to a break a little early, walk with me here on the Kansas City Royals just a little bit, Sasha. Last night, Bobby Witt Jr., he scores 4 runs. He drills a home run. He gets 3 RBIs. Cags goes 3 of 5. You get the return of the Pasquatch and Michael Garcia. And look, this season, I don't know if you're going to build steam anywhere close to being a wild card selection, but hey, you can at least ramp up and kind of gain some momentum for next season. Just spreading the local news here with Royals back.
There's a little something they put on the standings page, which is like playoff probability, and nobody in the American League has an E by their name yet, right? Nobody's eliminated, but there's a little thing you don't want by your name, and the Royals have it, which is the caret and then the less than symbol and then the 0.1% next to it. And they're along with the Athletics and the Angels who have that. They're not. There's no playoff run, right?
Right.
And the reality is maybe you'd be a little bit more optimistic, or the proverbial you would be a little bit more optimistic if some of the underlying metrics were more favorable. Like, hey, they're just unlucky, right? They have a bad record because of unluck, but they're second worst in the league in run differential as well, right? They're not. It's not like they're losing all close games. Even though they have had problems with bullpens and blowing leads late, they've gotten beat bad many times, and there's really no one, like outside of Cags and Bobby Witt Jr., there's no one on the team that you could say like, oh, they're having an above average season. They're doing more than what we expected out of them.
Noah Cameron just the last month.
Yeah, Noah Cameron for the last month, but his numbers are pretty comparable to what he put up last year over the course of the whole thing, actually a little bit worse. So it is promising, right, that you have 2 guys to build around there in Cags and Bobby Witt Jr. Carter Jensen's been okay. Salvador Perez, I was going to say this the other day, but we didn't get to it, but he has a negative 0.7 WAR.
I think you maybe did say it.
I'm saying it again. They only have 2 other guys on the roster with a negative WAR, and that's a team that's 22 games under 500. So that's telling you something about how much is left in the tank there. But it's I think I might have said it off air actually. So I don't remember if I said that on air or not. But here it is again for those wondering. His OPS is 626. The Royals have a lot of work to do this offseason if they want to put a contender on the field next year.
Oh, man. Good old baseball.
Have you seen my baseball?
Yeah. We'll take a breather. We'll talk with Mickey D. She liked to be called Micaela Day. We'll check in with a gal from Cake Sports. We'll have some fun. We'll talk about some of these topics. We hit on the mixed bag here in the A block. From Breece Hall, the Melbourne Council, to little Royals action. You never know what you're going to get here on the press box. Counting down those days, man. College football's around the corner. I think there's some jamborees happening late next week. I just need to get in front of my TV screen. Get there in person. All right, we'll be back. It's the press box.
Call the press box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The press box on KGSO.
Want to hear more of KGSO? Don't forget to download our app today. Fill out weekly surveys, register to win great prizes, listen live, message our shows, and so much more. Plus, get reminders of special programming and games you don't want to miss. Just find SC Wichita in your app store and make KGSO your new favorite app. It's Wichita's Sports Talk, right on your phone. Download the SC Wichita app today with Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Every school pickup line has a main character. Most days, it's the kids. But once a year, a parent pulls up in a brand new Kia Telluride. And suddenly, all eyes are on Mom.
Is that the new one? I heard it comes in a hybrid now.
I heard it has heated seats in all 3 rows.
And for a moment, the kids aren't the only ones in the spotlight. This August, let that parent be you, because Mom deserves to shine too. Or if it's your student's turn to get behind the wheel, find great starter cars like the K4 sedan and K4 hatchback. Plus, you can get 0% financing on brand new Sportage and Sorento models. And every new Kia is backed by our unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Whichever model you choose, we have big savings on great vehicles for that main character energy. Only at Midwest Kia.
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
With approved credit, see dealer for details. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty.
Football is here, and we are all excited to celebrate at Quincy's Bar and Grill. Quincy's Bar and Grill is packed full of TV, so you won't miss any of the action of your favorite team.
Whether it's college or the NFL,
you can catch it all at Quincy's Bar and Grill, the longest-running sports bar and grill in Wichita. While you're there, grab a cold one with friends or grab something to eat from the great Quincy's Bar and Grill menu. Thursday through Sunday, you can catch your favorite football team at Quincy's Bar and Grill, 2047 Northwest Street, and online at quincy'swichita.com.
Phil's Coins and Bullion, Kansas's premier bullion dealer.
If you want to add gold and silver bullion to your portfolio, there's no better place to go. Make sure to check out Phil's Coins online at philscoins.com. And with the largest variety of items, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Phil's Coins and Bullion, 9344 West Central Avenue. Go check them out today.
Phil's Coins and Bullion, philscoins.com.
Wichita's sports leader, KGSO, is brought to you by Devon James. Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
See the latest promotions and special events online at kgso.com. This is Wichita's sports station.
She's the queen, and he's the one whose neck is in the guillotine. And he said, I'm a match, she kerosene. You know she gon' burn down everything. She lost this in her pastime, and I've been burned for the last time.
Oh yeah, rocking out here on KGSO Sports Radio, longest running station sports-wise in the ICT. You know what it is. JZ, Sasha B, well, Mickey D, Micaela Day joins us here on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. Micaela, how you doing here on this Tuesday?
You know, it's the ramp up to fall sports and football, so
Right.
the adrenaline is certainly there. I didn't need my second copy of the day, but, you know, I'm ready. I'm moving and grooving. How about you guys?
I can sense the enthusiasm. She's bringing the energy. She's hot right away. Let's go, Micaela. Oh man, this weather is killing me. We got the fans blowing here in the studio. Micaela, let's go to the football field here. We started off the show talking a little bit about Breece Hall, former Northwest product, Iowa State Cyclone, and now a New York Jet. And look, his pockets are maybe a little bit deeper than they were a couple years back. He's making some good NFL money. But look, he's got the groin injury to worry about for a couple of weeks. But all signs as of now, according to head coach Aaron Glenn, I don't know if I trust his word too much, but hey, Jets at Titans week 1. Breece Hall, fantasy owners, he should be out there ready to go. I guess give me kind of a scale here of 1 to 10. How worried would you be as a Breece Hall fan, a Jets fan, Breece Hall himself? Where does this injury lie on a scale of 1 to 10? Maybe 1 being it's a fingernail, 10 being it's devastating. Where do you lie here?
First off, are there Jets fans in this area? I wonder that, you know.
We actually know one. We actually tracked
do?
one
Okay.
down. Yeah, his name is Zach Petrick out in the Kansas City area, but that's about the only one I've been able to find. Yep.
But, if there are Jets fans, it's because they're following Breece Hall, the local kid who's excelling at the next level. I personally wouldn't be too concerned. Yes, a groin injury, but it's nothing on a scale of, this is, craziness. And, again, it is the preseason. He'll be back in a couple weeks. He's coming off that insane season last year and, this contract, which is big for him. And I do want to tie this into, I'm going to segue, Northwest football, because we just spoke with them yesterday, so sorry if I'm taking a segue away from you. This is a broader thing. As we know, Northwest High School has just been insane with the amount of top running backs that they produce. And we talked with Coach Martin yesterday. Obviously, he coached Breece Hall. He gets to see him at the next level. We had other big running backs that came out of the Grizzlies, like L.J. Phillips, over time, Deron Thompson. Big names like Sincere Thompson, Augie Fast last year.
Yeah.
And he talked about sophomore Zaire Burton, who is going to take the reins as the starting running back for the team this year, which I'm really excited about. He is just a sophomore. We didn't get to see him much on the field last season because Augie Fast, if you caught any of those games, which I know you guys did, was fast.
Speedy.
And he was always scoring the touchdowns for the team. So quick little segue just on Northwest overall, and just it's so fun to see Breece Hall excel at the next level, and just to know that these Wichita kids are coming out of the city and doing their thing in the NFL.
Yeah, talking to Coach Martin, always a ton of talent over there at Northwest. What other City League schools have you had a chance to chat with yet? What City League schools are you excited to maybe see this year?
No other City League schools yet. We're kind of going all over the place. But it's just a matter of, catching up with Andale, catching up with Cheney, catching up with even up in Salina Central, Salina South. I'm excited to talk to Sterling as they're coming off their first state title since 1984. We did talk to Capon. How could I forget Coach Weston Sharts with his first ever title after, 40-plus years of coaching last year in 4A. They're going back to 5A. I covered them in 2023 when they lost in the state championship game to Mill Valley last time they were in 5A. So I know that's a big difference as the Crusaders do transition back to that class, and they know that they're not necessarily the top dogs anymore. No, just a lot of fun and a lot of excitement, as you can tell from my voice. We've been busy. We even went down to Derby this morning. I haven't had a chance to catch up on those interviews to hear what Brandon Clark has to say. As we know, his son Blade is the starting quarterback. So just a lot of teams to cover, as we know, with practices kicking off yesterday.
High school football. There's nothing like the emotion of high school football. I mean, playoff games and senior nights. It's truly the best. It brings back a lot of great memories. Oh, Micaela, let's go to this story here with Melvin Council, and we can kind of pair it to what's going on in the broader perspective here of the sport with the NCAA, and really just not having a tight grasp on this thing. Melvin Council, he's going to have a hearing right there in Lawrence in about 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to be Friday, September 4th. As he's going to the Douglas County District Court, and he's going to be trying to get eligibility because he feels like, hey, I played 2 seasons of junior college basketball. That should not count. And I said, look, for Jayhawk fans specifically, and Melvin Council, of course, this could be a positive because he's your junkyard dog, right? But I think for the greater good of college sports, all of a sudden opening yet another Pandora's box to every, former guy who played, JUCO and thought they were done, thought they were out of eligibility, is going to come crawling back to some court near you. Micaela, what do you think about Melvin Council trying to get an extra year of college hoops?
A lot of credit to the Jayhawk fans that are dreaming of this reunion. Yes, it is plausible. Obviously, the case is moving along, and obviously we're seeing a lot of stuff go down in the NCAA right now with injunctions, TROs, everything like that. My opinion is this. Why not for KU to be all in on Tyron Stokes, all in on the roster that they do have? Because if you go back to last season, obviously with the Darren Peterson drama, Melvin Council, yes, was a dog. Most of the time, if I'm not mistaken, when Darren Peterson was out and they were able to step up and cohesively form as a unit and really show their chemistry as a team. And then when Darren was mixed in there for a little bit, obviously it was nice to see as well. If I were a Jayhawks fan, though, I would want the team to just be all in on who they have. I don't think that, it's a bad squad already with Tyron Stokes, for them to bring in also at Leroy Blyden Jr. They also had that Utah transfer, Keanu Dawes and everything like that. So I don't know. It's a mixed bag of feelings, I'd say, because I get it. Melvin Council, great guy, obviously was a huge competitor for them last season. Trey White, though, is also out there, that he has the potential with the 5-for-5 thing as well. And I know at this point you'd be stupid not to consider it. I don't know if you guys also saw, too, the news today from John Rothstein, Michigan State transfer Jackson Kohler, told him that he is considering Kansas, Kentucky, Louisville, and BYU. He's pursuing a fifth year, and he's eligible because California had that TRO today. So there's another name in the mix that he's actually considering going to KU. Don't know how plausible that is, but at least his name is in the mix there. So at this point, it's kind of all just conjecture and craziness. I do think there is a lure with Melvin Council there for KU, but I don't know. I think just stick to the dogs that you have right now.
Yeah, and I was actually going to ask you about the Jackson Kohler thing because those other two guys are guys that were already in the program, so you could kind of see why you might bring them back. Jackson Kohler would be adding a whole new piece late in the game here, and it kind of makes me wonder about like Kenyon Giles and Karan Boyd. Are you hearing anything about whether they're – I know they were in one of the court cases and got an injunction. Have you heard anything about whether they have certain schools they're looking at, whether you think they'll be playing next year? If not, no big deal. It's kind of a left field question, but I think a lot of Shocker fans are interested in that.
No, definitely. I'm interested in as well. I have not heard anything specifically. I've heard more on the Trey White situation and the Melvin Council situation than KB and Kenyon Giles. But I understand there is, that curiosity too, because they were big-time players for the team last year. And yes, Wichita State did return a lot of guys, 10 guys, but what if you throw them into the mix? But specifically for Jackson Kohler, back to him, we know that he's a powered forward. He's a big man. Yes, you could make the argument that that's exactly what, KU kind of needs to address with Florida Badunga leaving and Tiller out to Missouri. But it's just so many question marks, and you want to just hopefully rely on the fact that Bill Self knows what he's doing. He pondered retirement. He's back. So, yeah, just a lot of questions we have to get answered here, guys.
Talking with Micaela Day from Cake Sports here, the press box on KGSO. Kind of just talking off season here in the NCAA. I do want to move to some Big 12 football, Micaela, as we are closing in. I'm reading a lot in my spare time, just trying to get a grasp of who's going to do damage here in this conference. And what's kind of cool, I'm reading a lot of projections and numbers here that are a little dinky. But I wanted to ask you the K-State side of this, because it's got cool breakdown as far as, retention rate, offense and defense. It's also got some projections here that I wanted to ask you about. I'm seeing a K-State projected to win 8 games this year, according to these metrics, and 5.5 conference games. There's only 3 teams above them in this ranking, Utah, BYU, and Texas Tech. Kind of give me your record expectation if you've been able to maybe settle on that for this upcoming season. You don't have to play a Texas Tech if you're K-State. You don't have to play a Utah. You don't have to play a BYU. So the schedule kind of follows your direction. And how do you feel about 5.5 conference wins as kind of the over-under here heading into the season?
I mean, if you just break down the conference wins that, you have, let's just say they obviously do beat KU, maybe Houston, early on Cincinnati. I'm not sure. But, when it comes to the teams on the schedule, Oklahoma State, they received votes in the AP Top 25 preseason poll. This year, obviously, as we know, K-State not receiving votes. The fact that they don't face a Texas Tech is big, and the fact that you said no BYU, right?
Right.
No BYU is big as well. Those two are big-time players. So I would say 5.5, sure. I think they might exceed that, though. I have more confidence in K-State than I would KU at this point because you have that reliable quarterback and Avery Johnson coming back in, and we see that chemistry hopefully form over the course of a few games. Obviously, I'd say the first 3, possibly 4, they win. They're going to go 4-0. Houston might give them some fits. You never know. KU, let's hope they get the Sunflower Showdown. Arizona State, you're on the road for those 2 games, Arizona State and Colorado. Let's hope those are wins. Oklahoma State, again, more fits. TCU, question marks. Arizona, that was a difficult place too, so maybe that's a loss. Iowa State is always a tough place to play too. So, you can make arguments for all these teams, but the fact that they're not playing those big time players is huge. So if I'm a K-State fan, I'm happy at least. But I know also that argument too that we made last week. You want to play the top players on your schedule as well. So what's your guys' take on the record that you think?
Yeah, I think K-State has a chance to make some noise. The prognosticators are maybe a little bit more bullish on them than some of even their own fans are. I will say this: I had to go check you when you said Oklahoma State received votes in the top 25. I think that those voters should have their votes pulled, because if you're as bad as Oklahoma State was last year, I don't care if you have a new coach and a bunch of new players. You don't get votes yet, right? You got to win a couple of games before you get some votes. But I think K-State, right? Like the Big 12, the nice thing is you might not have a lot of signature games on your schedule, but it gives you a chance. If you get hot and you get rolling, there's nobody that you can't beat on the schedule. And especially when you look at them not playing Texas Tech, not playing BYU, right? That's really favorable for K-State.
I like how you asked us, Micaela. I'll give my quick take here. I think the offensive line is a slight concern. I think bringing back pass rushers. I mean, your top 6 sack leaders from K-State last season are not back here in 2026. I think losing Jace Brown's a big worry. For what it's worth, Dylan Edwards is a loss as well. Avery Johnson's going to have a lot of expectation, and a lot of it's going to be on his shoulders. I think the ceiling, if he plays like he did throughout his ceiling last year, this could be a team that, yes, can go over in conference projections and go, a 6-3, right? But I think there's a real world, to play devil's advocate to my statement as well, where Avery kind of feels a lot of the pressure and, maybe tries to do a little bit too much, play some superhero ball, and it leads to a couple more losses than you would think. I think 5.5 is kind of right on the money.
Yeah. No, I was going to say just real quick, the O-line argument is valid. And if we go back a couple seasons ago, obviously they had a stellar O-line, Cooper Beebe leading the charge, and they were just in the preseason top 25, I believe, the 2023 season, and that was so much fun with Will Howard under center. And so it's difficult to see a K-State team, if you're a K-State fan, the last couple years, have these chances and kind of be there right in the moment, but not really obviously finish. And so if this O-line thing can get shored up, I saw today there were some injuries with their left tackle who started all their games last season. I think John Pastore. I know that's difficult. But, but at least if you're a K-State fan, you look at KU, you might be a little happy.
Yeah, I'm going to go there, right? Because I think we talked about K-State. We should talk about KU football instead of jumping right into basketball and skipping right over football. So I'll try to make this fun for everyone involved. I'll say November 1st, which is the day after KU's game against TCU. It also happens to be the day before their first basketball game. Before or after November 1st, KU fans stop caring about football and are only thinking about basketball.
Might have to agree with you. Not a KU fan, but might have to agree with you, sir. That's what I've heard up in Lawrence.
No, I'm just asking, though, do you think KU fans will give up on football before or after November 1st?
I think way earlier than that. I've known KU fans long enough. Once they get that first loss, they're like season over, which, hey, I know we had to deal with Jalen Daniels over the last couple of years and all those issues. Right now, who is the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Cole Ballard? What are we doing with Isaiah Marshall right now? And then you've thrown the fact that they're going to face 3 AP preseason top 25 teams versus K-State's schedule. They definitely have their work cut out for them, and it looks like they'd probably go to hardwood probably a little bit more sooner than that.
Okay.
Well, I think I know where that statement came from. KU is playing Missouri. It's the Border War, September 11th, and, Micaela Day, a Mizzou crowd.
Can't even go to it. It's Friday. High school football on Friday. Why do they do this to me?
That does suck. I don't understand that at all. It really is on a Friday.
Yeah, their first 2 games are. Yeah.
Lame.
It always is, but I know.
That's bogus. Bush League. She is Micaela Day. Give her a follow on X, Twitter. Micaela, a mainstay of our Tuesday programs. You're the best.
See ya.
We'll see ya.
Thanks, Micaela.
Stick with us.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
40 to the 30. The Burgers are on.
High school football is almost here, and your one-stop source for all your high school football is your High School Football Guide from the Mid-America Sports Network. Stay tuned in and hear where you can pick up your copy. Catch each team's season schedule, read about each team and coach, and follow your favorite team all season long. It's the Mid-America Sports Network Football Guide, and it's coming to a location near you.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Window tinting, ceramic coating, paint protection film, vinyl wraps, full wraps, clear, stealth, and color. WichitaClearBra.com.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. I've been scouting these big carriers for a minute now, and I've seen them pull the same play 1,000 times. They promise you the world, then hit you with a price hike right when the game gets tight. But Boost Mobile, their $25 a month unlimited wireless plan is the most consistent player on the floor. No contracts, no price hikes. Unlock the savings today at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months of the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
There's always something happening at Halligan's in Wichita. Enjoy happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
Plus, enjoy a different food and drink special every day of the week.
From Taco Tuesdays to Whiskey Wednesdays to half-price burgers every Thursday. Great food, cold drinks, live entertainment, and the neighborhood atmosphere you've been looking for. It's Halligan's in Wichita, 1106 South Seneca, and online at Halligans.com. Come hungry, leave happy.
Are you in need of a new dentist? Check out 316 Dental at 13th and West Street. 316 Dental is now offering same-day services with the addition of a second dentist. That's right, same day. The hardworking team includes 4 hygienists and stays open late to fit your schedule. 316 Dental accepts most major insurance companies. Ask them about their new patient special that includes a comprehensive exam and x-rays. They also offer implants and Invisalign.
Care that soars above and beyond. 316 Dental.
Looking for a new-to-you ride? For over 70 years, customers have trusted Rusty Egg Ford with quality vehicles and exceptional service. We have 500 used cars available with 150 Ford Blue Advantage certified. From fuel-efficient cars to tough trucks and versatile SUVs, you'll find quality, value, and selection all in one place. That's peace of mind with every mile. Buy with confidence at Rusty Egg Ford. Visit rustyeggford.com. Family-owned and simply the best place to buy. See dealer for details.
Take KGSO anywhere, anytime at KGSO.com.
Black is my favorite color. Makes me feel like we know each other. Blank tapes and posters on the door. Listen to my Pink Floyd cover. Take a seat like a backbeat lover. Mixtapes and cushions on the floor. I saw my bed and right my stereo.
Oh, it sounds like a party. Here in the KGSO studios, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Installation done right on schedule. 522-1410. Be like Micaela Day and call us on the Maximum Outdoor. equipment phone lines. I know it's the summer dog days. You're just waiting for football season to roll around. We're almost there. Call in with your concerns, your hyped up predictions for your favorite team this upcoming year. All right. So far here in the hour, we've hit on a lot of local topics. I did want to hit on this as well from a couple days back. Maybe a little late to the party, but better late than never, they say. Guys, I think it's fair to say this was maybe the greatest debut potentially in the history of American sports. It was the first time you ever saw in modern MLB history a player hit 3 home runs in his debut. Look, it's already spectacular enough of a feat to somehow, some way get called up to the big show. And in one of your first 3 or 4 plate appearances in game 1, you managed to knock one over the fence, man. But to do it not once, not twice, 3 times. 3 times. I mean, if this was a bettable thing, you would never have to work again a day in your life, and that's not an exaggeration at all. Look, Joshua Baez for the St. Louis Cardinals. My golly. But now that we've had some days for this to rest, he has not got a hit since in his last 3 games, which is really disappointing to see. And it's reminded me a lot of the point that you had when we kind of went back and forth a few months ago when Royals shortstop Tyler Tolbert went out there in 12 straight plate appearances, got 12 straight hits. And I'm thinking, all right, guys, this guy needs to be thrust into the lineup, find a way for him to start the rest of the year. And that may have been, an overreaction to a degree. Look, it goes to show you may have the greatest debut of all time, but quickly, guys can pick up on your tendencies. It's just hard to replicate success day in, day out. It's almost kind of like golf.
Yeah, listen, I mean, if he was a guy who just hit a home run every time he batted, he wouldn't have spent 452 games in the minor leagues, right? He would have been in the major leagues a long time ago.
Wow.
Now, I'm sure he probably got signed as like a 16-year-old, so it's not a big deal, right? Like he spent lots of time in the minors, and his minor league stats are pretty good, but he had 78 home runs in 452 games. I hope he has a long and prosperous career, but there is a good chance, right, that's the highlight of his major league career, that he never has a day that good ever again. Which kind of stinks, right? It's like peaking early sort of thing. But revel in the moment. It wasn't his first 3 at-bats, too, I think. And so to go up 3 times in a row against Major League pitching and hit it over the fence all 3 times, if you did that anytime, right, at any point in your career, that's amazing, right? There's lots of guys that are going to go their entire career without ever doing that. And he did it in his first 3 plate appearances. Is pretty cool.
He was 1 at-bat away from starting his career off with an OPS of 4,000. I mean, he started off with a 3.750 at
5,000 actually, even
really?
Because he'd get 1,000 for the on-base percentage and a 4,000 slugging percentage. So
if he would have gotten a 4th home run,
yeah, he would have been on base all 4 times. That's 1,000 plus a 4,000 slugging, 5,000 OPS. That would have been amazing. Yeah.
Baseball math is a little tricky.
750 and 3,000 slugging, so 37.
He hasn't got a hit since, and that is through 14 at-bats. No walks, by the way. He's now at an average of just 167, but he's still got an OPS of 877. Still got a slugging of 667, which is elite. I mean, It goes to show, hey, one big performance, it helps out your numbers, helps out the team for a day, but you would rather have a guy who, hey, can you even out those home runs? Can you give me one every other night? If you can do that, you'd be the greatest of all time. So, Joshua Baez for the Cardinals. Look, you thought maybe you get an Albert Pujols 2.0. It's maybe a little early. He plays out in right field, but the 23-year-old with the greatest debut I've ever seen. The equivalent of that, honestly, in an NBA game would be, like Darren Peterson at first game for the Jazz dropped 60 points. I got to think that'd be a fair comp.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you'd be like the record for home runs in a game is 4, and it's only been done a handful of times. So whatever NBA number has only been done like 20 times or less, that's about the number you'd have to get to
65,
to be the 3 home run club. Yeah.
Wow. That's just bonkers.
I'd say a 50 or 60 point game is probably about comparable to a 3 home run game.
NFL wise, I got to think that's a 450-yard day with 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. There's been a lot of 3 home run days in Major League history, but so 4 home runs would have been like the real threshold where it's like setting the single game scoring record in your first game. But still, it's an impressive debut for sure.
Coming up in hour 2, we'll get to some fantasy talk. We'll try to get around to the NBA story with Steve Ballmer, and hey, we investigated ourselves and found absolutely nothing going on. Jordan Tyson's hamstring, a little bit of a concern. Maybe fans are going to be voting for this Heisman. There's some interesting things out there.
Listen, Jordan, I never would root for injuries, but there was a lot of people online, Chiefs people.
What do you mean, but?
I'm just saying I wouldn't root for injuries ever. Just let me finish my sentence.
All right.
But there's a lot of Chiefs people that were lamenting the fact that the Chiefs didn't take Jordan Tyson and took Mansour Delane. So at least from if he was going to hurt his hamstring, it wasn't going to help them early this year. Now their careers, time will tell, right? Who has the better career out of the two? But for now, Mansour Delane is going to be on the field and Jordan Tyson's not.
I kind of feel like the Saints. I know we talk about this with other teams that, tell you all the time that they're cursed. It feels like the Saints are cursed ever since Bountygate, right? And then you had that playoff horrible ending with the blown call that wasn't called against the Rams.
Yeah.
Right? NFC Championship game, I believe. And then you got Jordan Tyson here. You're already very banged up historically in recent years with Chris Olave. I mean, Tyler Shuck. He's got some big shoes to fill there. I know Drew Brees hasn't played the last couple of seasons, but he just, donned the gold jacket. Some people are thinking the gold and black down there in New Orleans is going to tear it up this year in the South. I know our Bayou Buddy sounds like he's a Saints fan. I wonder how he feels about this with Jordan Tyson.
He's got to be a little disappointed, right? Everybody wanted to see what he could do on the field. There's a lot of buzz about him, and he had hamstring issues in college too, and so that's what has people a little bit more concerned about it.
Got to do those single leg RDLs, man. Single leg with a hamstring curl. Fix those imbalances, my man. We'll talk to you at 5 o'clock here on KGSO.
The NFL is back on Sports USA. Every hit matters and every play sets the tone. It's where the rookies fight for their spot and the veterans stake their claim.
Throws to the corner of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown.
This Thursday, it's the Las Vegas Raiders at the Houston Texans.
Stroud back to pass. Fires towards the end zone. It's caught. Nico Collins. Touchdown Houston.
On your home for the NFL, Sports USA.
Pre-game Sunday at 6:30 right here on Wichita Sports Station, KGSO.
Are you in need of a new dentist? Check out 316 Dental at 13th and West Street. 316 Dental is now offering same-day services with the addition of a second dentist. That's right, same day. The hardworking team includes 4 hygienists and stays open late to fit your schedule. 316 Dental accepts most major insurance companies. Ask them about their new patient special that includes a comprehensive exam and x-rays. They also offer implants and Invisalign.
Care that soars above and beyond. 316 Dental.
Friday nights in Wichita mean one thing. Our kids, our teams, our lights on that field. Renewal by Anderson is proud to help light up Friday night lights across the Wichita area because we believe in the same things this community does. Craftsmanship, pride, and showing up for what matters. So this season, cheer loud, and when you're ready to bring that same hometown quality home to your windows and doors, call Renewal by Anderson of Wichita. Renewal by Anderson, proud supporter of Wichita area Friday night lights.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, but Terry Caldwell, Hog Wild partner and general manager in Wichita at Maple and West Street, thinks that's an easy call to make.
It's got to be Hog Wild's award-winning ribs.
Our ribs are so good because we only buy our meat from those who share our high quality standards. We also hand rub each slab with our famous seasoning blend. Then, Hog Wild ribs are slow smoked over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're going to keep coming back for.
Are Hog Wild signature ribs your new favorite? Order online at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 6 locations in Wichita, also in Derby, Hutchinson, and Salina.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you. But don't be late, we close at 8.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayers.
This is Wichita's sports station, K230BY, 93.9 FM, 1410 AM, and 99.7 HD3. KGSO Belle Plaine, Wichita. Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
If you're listening to this show right now, you've made it to the second hour of the Press Box. Thanks for sticking with us. Congrats. Just kidding. It's a luxury to be able to talk with you here this Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening, driving out, driving home. Thanks for choosing the longest running sports talk station here in Wichita, KGSO, in the Renewal by Anderson Studios. Jay-Z, Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka. We are ready to go. We got you covered here over the next hour. 522-1410. If you want to call the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines, I don't even know if anyone's had the guts to call us today.
Light it up. That's what I was going to say. 522-1410. Light it up. That's all I can say to you callers. We're ready to go. We'll maybe hear your fantasy football thoughts or whatever you got. Have the guts.
Folks are in the absolute doldrums today. What is going on? But hey, you can comment on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, and we will try to get around to your comment and read it as soon as possible. The SC Wichita app. Shout out to Hank. Shout out to KQAM. Shout out to La Raza if you like country, news talk.
Yeah, we've got
Spanish.
We've got a myriad of comments from Devin out here on Facebook.
I want to catch up to you, Devin, because we have issues with OBS right now. You're saying you love... I don't even know what you're saying, dude. You love Taco Tico.
He loves Lamp. He loves Taco Tico.
What?
And he loves truck stuff. And he needs internet. He says he doesn't have the internet. That's spurned from, listen, there's this person that comments on our feed every once in a while. He's somewhat trolly is the term I'd use. He's a spammer, and he put an article out there. And I know what the article's about. It's about the Chiefs having some injuries, some day-to-day stuff. And so I liked the comment, but I said, don't spam our comment section. We have the internet. We can find the article. Roman.
Calling him out directly.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones here, courtesy of Maximum Outdoor Equipment. Thanks for joining us here on the Press Box. What do you got? What up, Danny?
Just wanted to call and say, go Broncos. I think a lot of people are trying to sell the Broncos short this year. I think they're going to be in for a shock.
Going to be in for a shock and in a good way. I'm assuming you're meaning, look, the Broncos, I do have them winning the AFC West. Sasha, wrapping his gear, he's got the Chiefs.
I have them. I have the Broncos and the Patriots kind of in a similar category, which is like the popular thing is to say like maybe they regress back a little bit this year, right? With the Patriots, they had a easy schedule last year. The Broncos won a lot of close games last year, but then you kind of take a closer look and it's like the Patriots added A.J. Brown, the Broncos added Jalen Waddle, and so they added some good, like they added to the teams that won 14 games a year ago, so you wonder where those extra losses are going to come from. I think the Broncos will be very competitive in the AFC West. I don't think they'll win 14 games just because I think like nobody in the AFC West will. I think the schedules are too tough. The AFC West plays the NFC West this year. The Broncos will have a first-place schedule. So I think it's going to come down to 1 or 2 games at the end between them and the Chiefs and maybe the Chargers too. But, yeah, I think they'll be a team that you have to worry about yet again.
Oh, yeah. It'll be interesting. I just hope everybody stays healthy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope on all teams everybody stays healthy. Just get the full force on all sides from all teams. But how long you been rooting for the Broncos?
So I'm 52 years old. I've been a Broncos fan since I can remember. I was raised a Broncos fan. So
there you go.
I'm from Montana originally, and my dad was from Colorado, so he raised me a Broncos fan. So I've been through the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And I'll always be
I like it, Danny. I like the commitment to your team. I'll ask you this before you go. Do you think Bo Nix is being a little underrated so far in his career?
Yeah, I really do. I get it. He was pretty. There was a lot of inconsistent play last year in the first part of games. I think we'll get a lot of that ironed out. I'm really excited about Davis Webb taking over the play calling. I think it'll give Sean Payton more of a kind of a CEO outlook of the team. I think it'll be difficult for Sean, to pull back a little bit, but I think that the sky's the limit with Davis Webb. I think he's a heck of a talent. So.
Well, best of luck this upcoming season with your Denver Broncos, man. I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
Absolutely. I don't know if Sasha's wishing him the best of luck.
Listen, I'm rooting for everybody as long as they're not playing the Chiefs.
There you go.
Which the Broncos will twice. So.
There you go. Look, you got to give allegiance to your squad. At some point, you can't roll over. Right. All right. Little fantasy segment. We started this back yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of filling the shoes of the comprehensive coverage just a little bit in the Hall of Fame Monitor series. We like doing these series. I think maybe next week we're going to start doing a Big 12 breakdown, 2 teams by day. But for now, this is fantasy season. I know you've got your draft set. Mine is set, I believe, for 2 weeks from now. Anyway, got to have it before the season.
Yeah, that's the rule.
You can't do it after week 1. I unfortunately hear.
September 9th is the first game, so you have until September 9th to get your draft done.
All righty. Yesterday, we kind of went back and forth. We debated some quarterbacks. We talked about, hey, are these guys, like, not only good NFL quarterbacks, but are they good for the point system and, winning leagues, bragging rights amongst your buddies at work?
Yeah, I think with running backs, it's a little bit closer to, like, the best running backs are also the best fantasy running backs. Kind of the same way with receivers too. But yeah, these are going to be the elite of the elite at the top of the list here.
Oh boy. I kind of wanted to start this off by mentioning I'm going to have a tough decision to make for my first pick in my draft coming up. Because I was told, hey, Jay-Z, you've got the second pick, which means, all right, automatically I end up with Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson. There's a couple different ways you could look at it, though. I'm almost thinking of yielding some offers. I don't think our league is set up to be able to trade draft picks just yet. Maybe you have to actually do the draft, but I would be in the market. I think it's fair to say, even as dominant as Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson are, I don't know if they're the kind of players where you're like, nah, I don't care who you're offering me, I'm not picking up the phone. I think you consider it a little bit. Fair to say?
Yeah, it's fair, right? I think those are kind of the clear-cut, like, first 2 picks in fantasy this year in standard leagues. But there's a lot of receivers that you could like too, and so I'd almost rather like be kind of in the middle of the first round. You don't want to be all the way at the end because then you don't get who you want. But I'd almost rather be kind of in the middle of the first round. You can see who other people like, and then kind of take who's left. But I think Gibbs and Robinson are going to go 1-2 in most drafts. So at least if you have one of the first 2 picks, you get one of those guys, and then you come back in the second, third turn, and you'll get 2 more elite players because you'll have the 24th and 25th pick as well if it's a 12-team league. So it's not a bad spot to be.
All right. The running backs. I actually wanted to lead the discussion with a player who's not named Gibbs or Bijan. I actually wanted to start here with good old CMC. Because, guys, either you've had a fantasy winning season and Christian McCaffrey was part of it, or you had a fantasy bust of a year and Christian McCaffrey was a major part of it, guys. Going back to 2020, last 6 seasons of body work here, it's sort of been the every other story. It hasn't been exactly following the roller coaster path, but he's had 3 seasons where he's played half the year less, and then, 3 seasons where he's just about been the number 1 running back in fantasy football and has been a walking anytime touchdown, by the way. I got to think McCaffrey is kind of the key word here in the show, polarizing. He's maybe the most polarizing guy projected to go in the first round.
Yeah, he definitely is, right? The reality of it is if McCaffrey plays all the games, he could be better than Gibbs or Bijan. He was last year, right? He played all the games last year, and he was the number 1 scorer in fantasy by a pretty big margin, right? Jonathan Taylor was up there if you take out like points per reception, but McCaffrey catches a lot of passes too. Bijan Robinson and Gibbs were actually 3rd and 4th in half PPR, and Jonathan Taylor was up above them, but he has health concerns as well, and so you watch out for that. But like, if you want to roll the dice on McCaffrey, you can, but there's always that little bit of risk. And like 2 years ago, he was dealing with a few minor little nagging things going into the season, and then they were like, no big deal, he's going to be ready, no big deal. He didn't play till like week 11. He's not practicing right now because of some minor nagging things. They're like, no big deal. So it's got to scare you at least a little bit. I think Bijan and Jahmyr are just a little bit less scary. Because when you're using a really high pick on a guy, you want a lot of upside. You want them to be able to score a lot, but you also want to mitigate your risk, right? You want to have a guy that you're expecting to be able to count on, and so I think that's why those 2 guys, they're younger, they're more up and coming. You can see room for growth from past performances, right? They could get even better. Christian McCaffrey doesn't necessarily need to get better, right? He's already elite when he's out there. You just worry about the injury a little bit.
You mentioned the name, so we'll entertain the discussion. Kind of like McCaffrey, he's had 3 really great seasons this decade, and I maybe think the injury discussion with him gets talked about a little bit too much versus reality. It is Jonathan Taylor, the Indianapolis Colts. I'm seeing some lists having JT, top 5, top 6 running back in your book. So look, Taylor, he had that 1,800-yard season back in 2021 with 18 touchdowns. Well, he had 18 touchdowns again last year. No doubt about it, was a Pro Bowler, a fantasy menace. Look, the last 2 seasons, 2024, his campaign was maybe even better through 14 games only. He gave you 1,400 yards. This past season, 1,585. I know it's kind of influenced by having Quentin Nelson, maybe a future Hall of Fame guard on that line. The offensive line's great, but that offense is a little bland there in Indy. And I think Daniel Jones is a serious question mark coming off the Achilles injury. He was already starting to go downhill a little bit last season. If you want to make the argument, I think you could. If you separate the passing game, JT's maybe your best rush for rush guy.
The thing with Jonathan Taylor is he was really good last year, but he fell off quite a bit once Daniel Jones went out. And you'll remember Daniel Jones was playing at an MVP level like 6-7 weeks last year, and then he started to fall off a little bit. He started to have some injuries, and then he tore his Achilles, and he was completely out. But if you look at it as like Daniel Jones is going to be healthy and he's going to play the way he did last year, in just the first 10 weeks last year for Jonathan Taylor before the bye in Week 11, he had a game of 28.5 points, 31.3, 30.1, 32.7, 36.4, and 48.1. Those are just some of his games in the first 10 weeks last year. If you have one guy score you 30 fantasy points in a week, and that's in half PPR scoring, you're usually going to win that week. Like he's winning you games by himself with numbers like that. So Jonathan Taylor has a lot of upside. It just kind of depends on what you think about the Indianapolis offense as a whole and if they're going to be able to move the ball or not.
I think, to summarize your point, if Daniel Jones is in the game, there's a threat of passing. We can't stack the box.
Right.
If you got Anthony Richardson or Riley Leonard in the game, put 10 in the box for crying out loud.
Right. And that's what happened to him late in the year last year.
All right, I'm looking through here in some rankings, and every site has these a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I do think the veteran himself, the old man in the room for the running backs, you can never count out Derrick Henry, the future Hall of Famer. This guy's been churning the massive legs for some time, and I think over the decade, the 2020s, he's probably still been your top dog. He's got the 2,000-yard season back with Tennessee in 2020. He had the 1,900-yard season with 16 touchdowns 2024. He still gave you a measly 5 yards short of 1,616 touchdowns in 17 games last year. Derrick Henry is defying logic at this position, and I know he's, not catching a ton of balls. He for career averages 12 yards per game receiving-wise. But look, Derrick Henry is maybe the best in the league at being a mainstay in the touchdown category. Sasha, the last time he didn't have double-digit touchdowns, and this includes his injury season in 2021 where he only played 8 games, the last time he had single-digit touchdowns was when he wasn't even a starter in 2017.
Yeah, if you look at since 2018, he's had 1,000 yards every year except for the 8-game season in 2021, and he had 937 in 8 games. So I agree with you. I think he has been the most consistent rusher of the football in the last decade in the NFL, and that includes CMC, right? Like he's been ahead of him.
Right.
He's got in his career 13,000 rushing yards, which is a huge number, right? He's going to waltz into the Hall of Fame. From a fantasy perspective, there's 2 things working against him.
Yeah.
One is everybody keeps kind of waiting, like, okay, he's 32 now. He's 30. He was 31. He was 30. You keep waiting for the fall off. It hasn't really happened yet, but I don't think he's getting dinged a whole lot for that. He's getting dinged more for the fact that he doesn't really get involved in the pass game, right? The receiving game. And if you get a point for every reception in your league, which most leagues do, right? That's the way like ESPN and Yahoo do it. Then you lose a little bit having him not catch a lot of passes, and also you don't get the yards for those receptions. He's never the most receptions he ever had in a season was 33. You got guys like Christian McCaffrey catching 100 balls in a year. So that dings him a little bit. That's why he's a little lower in the rankings. But he's a guy like, if you think he's going to have the same production that he's had in the past on the running game and with the touchdowns, he's still going to score you a lot of fantasy points, and you're probably going to get a good value on where you can draft him because there's maybe 7 or 8 running backs going before him.
Talking some fantasy football running back edition here on this the series on the Press Box and KGSO. All right, Sasha, I've got a tough question for you.
Yeah.
You ready for this? Look, this would not be a fantasy football segment without a little start, bench, cut. Kiss, marry, kill, if you will, here. This is going to be tough.
Can we play it that way?
I'm going to... Sure, dude.
Kiss, marry, kill instead of start, bench, cut?
You want to smooch
we'll
with
do
these
start,
guys?
bench, cut. Okay.
Start, bench, cut. I'm going to give you 3 names.
Okay.
Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
And for this sake, let's say, hey, he's ready to go week 1-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
Breece Hall, same caveat, ready to go week 1-ish. And your man from Seattle, Now in Kansas City, Kenneth Walker. You got Love, Hall, and Walker. Give me a start bench cut for this season alone.
For the season,
Fantasy.
Okay. I'll start with the cut. I think it's Breece Hall.
Ooh.
Right? I don't know. I would not cut Jeremiah Love, right? I think the upside's too much for him for this season. And he's the number 3 pick in the draft, and I think he can put up big numbers, and I like him. Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall are close, right? But there's no new situation for Breece Hall, so there's no like reason for optimism to think like he could produce more than whatever he has in the past. With Kenneth Walker, at least you can see a blossoming role for him. They're both big play merchants, right? They both rely on like long runs to get their fantasy value. Breece Hall's been more involved in the passing game in the past, but Kenneth Walker, I think the Chiefs are going to try to use him a little bit more on that. I'll seem like too much of a homer if I start Kenneth Walker, so I'll bench him and I'll start Jeremiah Love. But I think the real answer to that is like you want to start, like Kenneth Walker's a little bit safer, and Jeremiah Love you want to have there on your bench in case you need to start him later, right? Like I think as the season progresses, he's going to be a big play in fantasy. But for the purposes of a full season, I'll start Jeremiah Love, bench Kenneth Walker, cut Breece Hall.
But it is a competitive trio.
It is. They're close, right? The harder decision for me there though was the choice between Love and Walker. I have Breece just a little bit further down the list because I think there is some risk there. If the Jets' offense is horrible, Breece isn't going to do a lot for fantasy, and so you got to be careful with that.
The thing is, though, that Aaron Glenn defense didn't get a single interception last year, which is an NFL record, and so
and they
it's
can
not
be
like
playing
the
from
offense.
behind. And if they are, he works in the passing game, so yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I would probably go, I think for the sake of the unknown and the prospect that is Jeremiah Love, I know I'm getting, bad vibes with the Genty situation. No one could block for him. Jeremiah Love, we've seen this guy, that Notre Dame run in slow motion to cross the goal line is a thing of football beauty. And I think he can have similar plays to that. I would say start Jeremiah Love. I would probably bench Breece Hall and cut Kenneth Walker, and here's why. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be, maybe the most active running back we've seen alongside 15, but at the end of the day, 15's 15. He's going to be throwing that ball in key situations. Yeah. I think the hope for Bieniemy and Reed is that you really use Kenneth Walker to the likes that, he was showing you his all-time peak as a player in the postseason last year. You hope he can pick up with that. But I do think there's going to be enough mouths to feed. I think the receiver is going to be relatively solid, serviceable. Maybe you pick up Juju today. I don't know. But, I would have Kenneth Walker be cut in this situation. Start Love, bench Breece Hall. But it's very tight.
I think so Breece Hall's a better pass catcher than Walker. I think one of the things that I would take into consideration, fantasy football is about scoring touchdowns, or that's a big part of it, is like if you get touchdowns, that helps your scoring a lot. I don't see a world where if Kenneth Walker's healthy and available and the Chiefs are on the goal line, that he's not the running back next to Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's going to get all of the goal line work, whereas I do see a world where, like, the Jets are rotating that in and out a little bit on the goal line. And so I think Kenneth Walker has a greater chance for touchdowns.
Couple other names here. I think you could probably catch people sleeping on Josh Jacobs a little bit, kind of just with what we know about NFL and Terry and Arnold news recently. I don't know if Josh Jacobs has any sort of suspension coming in anywhere soon. Maybe he's around for you in round 3 or 4. Kyron Williams has always slept on. He's had great numbers his whole career.
Yeah.
Cam Scattaboo, do you touch this guy with a 10-foot pole? Quinshon Judkins has a lot of hype in Cleveland.
I think Scattaboo is... I have a skewed opinion on Scattaboo, but he's not somebody I'd be targeting.
What do you do with these New England running backs, man? Ramondre, Travion.
They're close, right? Like what you hope is You draft Travion and hope he takes over the job because he's the guy with more big play potential and like could get you more. If you're drafting Ramondre Stevenson, you're just saying like he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. He might get some touchdowns. But if you draft Travion, you're hoping he takes over the job altogether. I don't think there's a world where like Ramondre gets the job and Travion's not involved at all.
Can I give you maybe the riskiest pick to take in fantasy this year? The whole draft. Riskiest player. Jonathan Brooks for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
He's
getting a lot of talk.
An ACL injury in college, comes back late in the season as a rookie, tears it again, missed all of last year. I don't think Chuba Hubbard is a legit number one in this league.
Right.
And Jonathan Brooks, potentially halfway through the season, later half, I'm not going to say he's looking like Rico Dowdle, but this guy, as a prospect, if he shows up,
you would hope
he's going to be producing.
You would hope he could be as good as Rico Dowdle. Like, I don't think he's going to put up like 200-yard games in a row.
No.
That was kind of an anomaly more than anything, though. Rico Dowdle that was the only time he'd ever shown that in his career.
Right.
But Jonathan Brooks could take over that job. I got to put your feet to the fire real quick, though, because you have the number 2 pick, so you probably don't have to make a decision.
Okay.
But are you Gibbs or Robinson if you had the first pick?
Oh, it's so tough.
We kind of glossed over those two
It's
guys.
so tough. Something tells me Gibbs without Montgomery by his side is just going to go ape. You know what?
I'm a Gibbs guy, too.
We'll be back. Bijan shifty as ever, though.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
High school football season is here, and KGSO Sports Radio is your home for the Golden Eagles. Bishop Carroll is looking to flex their muscles out on the gridiron this fall and cause havoc in the Greater Wichita Athletic League. Tune in on Friday night as award-winning broadcaster Doug Downs and his team bring the action to life. Hear every touchdown, every story with Bishop Carroll football right here on 1410, 93.9, and the SC Wichita app. Don't forget about the Tuesday night coaches show and the Saturday morning sports page for further coverage. Go Eagles!
When you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And there's no one that knows that feeling like Derby Allstate agent Mark May, because he works every day to get people like you the coverage they need with the savings they deserve. Contact him for your free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Right now, Rusty at Ford is making it easier than ever to save. Get 2.9% financing for 84 months, plus a $1,000 rebate on all 2026 F-150s. With dealer discounts and 2 years maintenance on us, now's the perfect time to drive home in a new truck. Looking for something else? We have 500 new and used vehicles to choose from. And don't forget, we'll give you up to $5,000 over KBB for your trade. Visit RustyAtFord.com. Simply the best place to buy. With approved credit, 2 years or 25,000 miles maintenance. See dealer for details. Raptors not included.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, all the furry four-legged co-pilots out there. Pets like Axel, Bandit, and Smokey, who may not understand humans but do listen to you rant about young people today for hours. Thanks, heroes. Know what else keeps safe truckers going? Saving an average of $6,181 when they elect to share their ELD data with us. Get a quote at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. 2025 National Average Safe Driver Enrollment Discount Savings for new Progressive customers. Excludes mandatory program participants. Not available in all states. Driving data could increase or decrease premiums at renewal.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Kansas knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is Stu Gatz and Company live.
The audience wants this.
You're listening to Stu Gatz and Company live.
Taylor told me he's got a football appetizer.
ESPN's Ben Solak said the Bears are on regression watch, but the Bears are also on elite watch.
Wow. Covered all his bases.
Anything can happen with the Chicago Bears this season.
Stu Gatz and Company live.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on KGSO and on the SC Wichita app. KGSO Studio, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Expert installation done right. Right on schedule. Find them online at renewalbyanderson.com. Keep sports talk trendy. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Whoa, feeling a little funky here on KGSO. Call us up at 522-1410. Hey, we had a Broncos fan call in earlier this hour. Let's see if we get maybe a Chiefs fan. Maybe a Raiders fan.
Raiders fan. Give me a Raiders fan.
Maybe
I want to talk to you,
Cowboys
Las
crazies.
Vegas. Wow. Yeah, there's some Cowboys fans out there. Jaguars. We got a few of those floating around.
I do want to get to this Steve Ballmer story, which is very disappointing, in a moment. But we can keep it going a little bit with the football trends, keep the football cycle rolling here. As, look, we're starting to talk about rookies. We're talking about Jeremiah Love. Tomorrow we're going to get to the NFL receivers in our fantasy segment there at 5 o'clock. But Jordan Tyson, man. Jordan Tyson, I think this broke late during our show yesterday. He's got an issue with the hamstring. And, sometimes you hear, hey, Breece Hall is going to be dinged up for a couple weeks, but ready to go for week one. You hear maybe Trey Smith, got a hip, dinged up, probably going to be ready to go week one. This is a lot more devastating. Could miss 2 months, guys. As it stands, it's August 18th. If you go 2 months into the calendar, I believe you're through 5 weeks of football. If we're looking at two months exactly to the day, that's some time. And look, Tyler Shuck, big season here for the Saints. We were talking a little bit about head trauma as well that you got in the same room with the wide receivers there in New Orleans. You don't want to see the injuries pile up here. And Jordan Tyson, projected high to go in the draft. Sasha, you were telling me how, look, a lot of Chiefs fans were thinking, man, did we miss out on Jordan Tyson? But after this news, you're thinking, hey, maybe we're lucky that we settled with Mansour Delane instead.
Yeah, maybe, right. Like, obviously, time will bear that out, but at least for the early returns, Mansour Delane will be on the field. It's disappointing for the Saints, right? It was a new weapon for Shuck, and he's looking to improve on a pretty stellar rookie season. Saints worked out a couple receivers today to potentially – they're not going to replace them, but to fill out the room. Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds worked out for the Saints today. Did I say Rams? I mean, Saints worked out a couple receivers.
No, you did.
Okay. They could call Juju. Juju's listen. Juju had some good games for the Chiefs just because he knew the system and like him and Mahomes knew how to work with each other. His athleticism is completely shot. He's got degenerative knee issues. He's not going to be useful for anyone else. If the Chiefs sign him, it'll be in desperation, and he'll catch some balls for the Chiefs, but he's not going to be useful for anyone else.
You think Juju's ligaments get a little tired?
Who cut him today?
Why can I not think of it?
Was it the Giants?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
You think the knees are a little sore from those TikTok dances he was doing?
Yeah,
back
maybe.
in the day?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. That could make sore knees. And they had to clear a roster spot. The reason the Giants got him is because they signed Najee Harris today, which is like, he's a veteran, right? I don't think he cuts into Cam Scatterbo too much, but yeah.
Be careful with the fireworks, kids. Be careful with the fireworks.
Did Najee have a firework incident?
I think he did. I think he took a firework to the eye. Anyway.
I didn't know that. The only one I remember is Jason Pierre-Paul lost a digit.
His hand's basically a nub. Timetable looks like it could be week 6 for Jordan Tyson. The hamstrings, man, these linger. These really linger. There's a chance where, honestly, if I had to place a bet on Jordan Tyson playing 9.5 games, I'd probably take the under, because it's very common for hamstring injuries. Players come back and then 2 to 3 weeks later, you're out again with the same strain. So
yeah.
I think for the Saints, yes, there's a little bit of pressure down in New Orleans to try to compete for the NFC South division this year, but you have some weapons in the room. I don't know if you necessarily need to risk it a little bit too soon with a guy like Tyson.
I've already heard people talking, right? Like, their bye is week 8. That means he has 7 weeks to get back before the bye, but more than likely, like, he doesn't play until week 9, which is not until November 8th. But I think I could easily see them hold him out of the first 7 games to make sure he's 100% healthy before he comes back.
All right. Let's move off the NFL. We've been talking a lot of pigskin today on the gridiron. Let's go to the NBA. Oh, man. I love the NBA. Stories like this, though, make me kind of roll my eyes at the NBA, and sometimes it just seems a little messy. I think there's real critiques on Adam Silver, and you start thinking back, did David Stern actually have the right recipe, even though things didn't exactly go smoothly all the time in his tenure? Look, Clippers owner Steve Ballmer is a rich man, and we're in a situation here where I've seen a lot of people kind of say, is the NBA getting some cold feet here, thinking, do we really want to take Steve Ballmer to court? Is that something that we can finagle? Is that a situation where we win? Is that actually bad for the league long term? Guys, we know the situation with Kawhi Leonard, right? Circumventing the cap, and he had the public deal that they found with Pablo Torre. It's even been cited here, 4 years, $28 million with Aspiration, the tree company. And then you got what we learned here in recent weeks with Daktronics, the manufacturer responsible for building the big scoreboard there in the Clippers arena. And so we thought, okay, Steve Ballmer, the man who probably created the contract that Kawhi signs, he I guess, according to the NBA finding over the last 72 hours, has absolutely nothing to do with this. It feels crummy.
I was watching a little bit about this last night and kind of reading the articles. This is not the NBA saying the investigation is over. What they're saying is there's no evidence that he explicitly funneled money through these sponsors to Kawhi Leonard, but he still could have broken the rules, right? Because there are rules against, like, the way that players are introduced to team sponsors that could be considered a violation of cap policy. And so the investigation's not over, the story's not over. It's just they've crossed a hurdle where they're saying, like, it wasn't like an explicit, hey, I'm funneling money to Kawhi Leonard through my sponsors to circumvent the cap in that way. But I do think, like, the NBA probably doesn't want to get into a pissing match with their richest owner, right? Into like suing and being sued and all that sort of thing. So they're probably treading lightly. But the interest.
Sorry, this has just been so weird because usually you hear, a team is in trouble, the NBA's thinking about the punishment. Instead, it's been the NBA is working with the Clippers to find a resolution. Yeah. Like, that seems really odd to me, and I'm even hearing people, toss it out for what it's worth. Does Steve Ballmer deserve to still be an owner in this league after something like this? If they truly were circumventing the cap, giving Kawhi Leonard more money to the table than what he was allowed to do so. I know that you're finding in your first initial search here that, we didn't find it in writing anywhere, right? There's not video of Kawhi, shaking hands with these tree companies, the Daktronics. But I gotta think there's some proof out there for Pablo Torre to find what he did, and then for the NBA just to say, Steve Ballmer, he had nothing to do with this. It's not finalized, I know that. But initial reports are saying that Steve Ballmer is somehow in the clear. I think that's BS, man.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers are going to be in store for having some of their draft picks taken.
Just to give the NBA side of this, there is another article that came out yesterday, maybe later in the day, and there's a quote from Mike Bass, a league spokesperson. He says, ESPN's article regarding the LA Clippers investigation, for which the NBA declined to cooperate, contains numerous and significant inaccuracies. And then he went on to say, the results in this matter will be made clear once the investigation is concluded. So the NBA is denying that ESPN's reporting is even accurate on this thing.
I guess. And that's unfortunate for ESPN and their part, but I almost feel like what we're headed to is the start of the season gets closer and closer and closer, and there's more pressure. There's more players involved in this because is Kawhi a Clipper? Is he a Raptor? Your guess is as good as mine. Like, we're 2 months away from the NBA season starting.
Right.
And I think, if we start getting 6, 5, 4 weeks out for this, I think the NBA is going to kind of just panic, and they might take the road of least controversy. And that's still going to be very controversial. And that could involve the Clippers not really getting much more than a slap on the wrist. I almost have the feeling that Kawhi Leonard is going to somehow get off scot-free from this, although I think his footprints are all over this situation as well. I toss it out back when this was more coming out. I think the Clippers deserve to have multiple first-round picks taken. And I think Kawhi Leonard, if you could really find him and his team as sort of the motivator behind this, I think the range of 25 to 41 games is appropriate for a suspension.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get to that point or that high just based on what's come out so far. But it'll be interesting. Kawhi would have sat those games anyway, so what difference does it make?
But
he won't get paid. But
that's kind of the plus for Kawhi Leonard is even if he gets suspended, it's load management.
He doesn't want to play anyways, right? And so there's a couple of guys caught up in the crosshairs of this through no fault of their own, which is Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, who they also don't know if they're Raptors or Clippers right now. They're waiting on to see if this trade goes through, and that will. It's all if you're the Raptors, it's almost like you have to move those guys somewhere else if this trade doesn't end up happening, and that kind of stinks too because you moved him because you thought you were getting Kawhi Leonard. If you have to move him somewhere else, who knows what you get back?
Well, I remember when the Lakers made the trade, Dalton Connect for Mark Williams, and then they're like, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know if we really want Mark Williams after all. We're going to say his physical didn't turn out. And then Dalton's actually been with the Lakers ever since. They must have,
he's been pretty useless.
Put water to the burning bridge. He has been very useless. He's been buried in J.J. Redick's system. So much so that Bronny James is getting more real playoff minutes over him. But, yeah, I think we've seen this play out. For Grady Dick, it's honestly unfortunate because he can't practice with his teammates. And then Brandon Ingram's actually like a top 75 player in the league right now, and he can move the needle.
And anything is possible, right? Keon Coleman's still on the Bills, so I guess after this offseason, and so I guess you can mend any bridge that you want to, but it does stink to trade a guy and then have them actually still be on the team. That's some bridges, and you have to keep in mind it's new. It's a new front office in Toronto.
Right.
That just came in and they trade these two guys, and then the trade doesn't go through, and they got to amend all this.
It's kind of like, it's not as bad, but it'd be like a coach accidentally cutting too many players for the middle school basketball team. And then, wait a minute, we actually had some guys, they're not going to, their grades aren't good enough. We actually need you to be on the roster. You're like, ugh. They don't want me, but now they want me.
It's the same reason companies don't turn people down until after somebody has accepted the job, because they don't want to tell them you didn't get the job and then be like, oh, actually, we want to give you the job. So, yeah.
An even better real-life comparison. We'll be back. It's the Press Box on KGSO. One more segment. Don't miss it.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington.
Where are you with the preseason? You in? You excited just to take any little, like I said, semblance of football?
I've been to plenty of preseason games, and they are boring. Football is a great, exciting game. Preseason football is awful.
This is The Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington.
Evenings on KGSO. And find KGSO on the SC Wichita app.
When you look for a place to learn, train, and grow, you need something that fits your life. At Butler Community College, we want you to reach your goals in the most affordable way possible. That's why we keep our tuition rates among the lowest in the state. It's why we offer hundreds of scholarship opportunities, equaling more than $3 million annually for pursuing your passion. And it's why we provide a professional higher education at a lower price tag. Butler Community College. Fall classes start soon. Enroll now.
Fall is rapidly approaching, and the ideal time to core aerate and seed a fescue lawn is September 1st through mid-October. Let the professionals at Meadowlark Landscape and Design give you an honest assessment of your lawn and its needs. They offer core aeration, overseeding, and dethatching services. Call them today, 316-880-0227, 316-880-0227, and get on their schedule for this fall. It's Meadowlark Landscape and Design, the trusted partner of Steckline Communications.
Looking for a new-to-you ride? For over 70 years, customers have trusted Rusty Egg Ford with quality vehicles and exceptional service. We have 500 used cars available with 150 Ford Blue Advantage certified. From fuel-efficient cars to tough trucks and versatile SUVs, you'll find quality, value, and selection all in one place. That's peace of mind with every mile. Buy with confidence at Rusty Egg Ford. Visit rustyeggford.com. Family-owned and simply the best place to buy. See dealer for details.
Are you looking for a better healthcare experience this summer? Kingman Healthcare Center is a full-service hospital with a 24/7 emergency room with little to no wait times. Our clinics offer same-day appointments and convenient scheduling for your annual checkups. Don't wait. Make your health a top priority and schedule your appointment today. You won't regret the short drive without the big city traffic. Exceptional care every time. To learn more, visit our website, kingmanhc.com.
Find us online, on Facebook, and on the SC Wichita app. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
Wrapping up the show here on KGSO. It is the Press Box. Jay-Z, Sasha B. Final segment. Glad you are still with us. As let's go to the phones, courtesy of Maximum Outdoor Equipment. How are you, sir?
What's going on, boys? How are we this afternoon?
What's up, James?
Not too shabby. What's going on, Moneytown Man?
What is up? Yeah, little side information. I just found this out. My brother just shared this with me about an hour ago. So the UFC fights this weekend, which I know you watched, and Mr. You did not watch him. Okay.
No, he said yeah.
I did.
He said yeah.
You did. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said you did not. But little side information. I didn't know the story behind, the Irish fighter, Mr. Gary.
Yeah.
My brother's like, so you know the story of where he came up with his Brazilian middle name, his last Machado.
I know this story.
You know the story.
Do you want me to be the one to say it?
Well, I mean, you got to tell it because my brother's like, I'm not really sure I can respect the man after I find out how he got that name. I'm like, so what's the story? So tell us the story.
Yeah. Some people think he and Gary is a certain word that starts with the letter C. Ian Gary, his name has been Ian Gary, right? But he married a woman by the name of Layla, and this woman had a divorce, right? But when Ian Gary married this woman, right, maybe he wanted to take her name and add it to his name for some reason. But he adds the name of her ex-husband. And by the way, this is interesting because all three of them live together in the same household, and the ex-husband is Ian Gary's nutritionist who feeds him a strictly vegan diet. And so it's weird, and Ian Gary's a weird guy, and he's going on this media tour, and he's talking about, I think women should rule the world over men. I think women should be in charge of everything. And so it's really weird, and he's kind of the polar opposite of a Conor McGregor, and a lot of people were hate watching Ian Machado Gary over the weekend, James. An odd story. I'm surprised you even heard about that.
Yeah, I didn't know the story behind that until just a little bit ago, and I thought, the same thing. What the hell is going on? That just to continue with the sarcasm, I said, what was the problem with Mr. Gary is that when McGregor picked him to win, McGregor himself hasn't won a fight in the last decade, and when he's picking people to win, that's the death. That's the death sentence. He's definitely not got a shot if McGregor's picking him to win. But
it was a curse. I think it wasn't surprising that McGregor picked against the Dagestanis at all. You give him respect to Makhachev, longest win streak in UFC history. I just wanted more entertainment in that fight. It was pretty good in the middle rounds.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't not respect the fact that all those fighters in that camp, what is it, like 6 of them now? Several of them that are still undefeated. But they're 109-2 between all those guys. That's pretty much domination, for sure.
Yeah, they know what they're doing in that neck of the woods there in Russia. Crazy.
Wrestling bears and taking the last names of ex-husbands. Guys, have a great Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll see you, James. I appreciate
thanks,
it.
James.
All right, thank you.
Doing some research here, and it's basically so his stepson and his son have the same last name, but it's interesting. It'd be different if it was her, like if her maiden name, even that, like some people would have something to say about that, but to take her ex-husband's name is a little bit weird.
And it's Gary in Ireland who's doing the last name thing. Makhachev, he I don't know if he even lets his quote unquote wife leave the house. But all right, let's take another call here on the phone lines on KGSO. What's up?
Holy moly! Did you say that out loud?
Yeah, he did into a microphone. What's up, Devin?
Hey, I got a question. So, what's up with this 5-year thing with these seniors? Have we found anything out? Are they going to let them play?
It's a bunch of separate court cases, and so like there's different guys in each court case, and each court case has been granted some sort of injunction, but the NCAA is still fighting it to try to get like a unified ruling against them all. And so like as of now, there's a bunch of players who are theoretically eligible, but that could change, and they're all in the transfer portal trying to find teams, and some teams have spots, some teams don't. It's an absolute disaster is what it is. And this is just I've seen all this reporting from a basketball perspective. I don't know, like theoretically this is football too, but apparently it hasn't been an issue in football. It's too late. The guys have already kind of moved on. But it's a disaster, and nobody really knows what's going on.
I could try to whip up a word salad. I'm not even going to do it to you, Devin. I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Are we excited? Excited to be playing Kentucky. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on
I'm
that?
fired up for that. It's a good, like, it's a huge name opponent. It's something that, like, if you can go out and whether you win or lose, right, that game will get reported on. It'll be on the nightly shows. But if you were to go out and get a win, right, that's something people nationally would be talking about and getting some exposure for the university. So I think it's the sort of game you want on the schedule.
Devin, these top-ranked recruits at Kentucky for Mark Pobe, they don't have the dog in them. that a Paul Mills-led team does, man. They're not throwing elbows in practice in the rebounding drill. They're not busting lips. They're not going to be ready for the physicality of the Shockers. Let's go.
So my next question is, did you see have you got a chance to watch the video that Will Berg shared on YouTube?
I have not. What's the Swedishman up to?
I actually didn't see that, and I don't miss much, Devin. What did Will Berg share about?
It's just what he's been up to this off season, stuff to look forward to, what they've been working on this season. I'm super pumped, man. Like I said, with the core guys coming back, and with what we have done this off season, and the camaraderie or team rah-rah, whatever you want to call it, coming back to this. Man, I've never been more excited. Like I said, I mean, he talks about wanting to be one of the best teams in the past 10 years to come through Shocker Nation. They're excited, man, and I'm fired up. And that video, I don't know who shot it or what they did, but it's kind of like a little documentary series on YouTube. Super sweet, and just kind of shows you an inside look of how locked in this Shocker team is and is looking forward to this season. So.
Yeah,
With
man.
that, I'll let you guys go. Have a fantastic Tuesday. Shasha's favorite day of the week, baby.
Ciao, man. Hey, listen. It's going to be a fun season in the Roundhouse. Only 350 lower bowl tickets left. Season tickets. So yeah, get out there. I'm not finding this Will Berg video, but we'll have to figure that out for another day.
What I do have figured out tonight is check out
Taco Tico, it's all about the taste.
You knew we were going to find a way to sneak it in there. I wonder if Will Berg's ever had some Taco Tico, guys. Bean and cheese burrito, 2 for $3. Third pound meat and cheese burrito, $2.79. Great deals at Taco Tico, $13 35th and Rock Road, Arc City, Newton, El Dorado, Derby, Augusta, where it's all about the
taste.
All about it, man.
Taco Tico. Let's go.
Bum. Talked about a lot today. Fantasy football. Breece Hall. Melbourne Council. Trying to play another year. Micaela A. Shout out to her. Steve Ballmer. No bueno. Fans are voting on the Heisman. Maybe we'll get around to that story eventually, but I don't know if it really counts. It's not going to move the needle. Maybe be one vote, but hey, fans have a itty-bitty say in the Heisman Trophy. Odd Couple. Fox Sports here in Wichita. Calvin Washington, Rob Parker. Knuckleheads are next.
This is Stu Gatz and Company live.
The audience wants this.
You're listening to Stu Gatz and Company live.
We've established that the Brewers were too good.
Yes.